everyone, I'm coming at you today with a brand new recipe. It's one of my most popular ones on the blog, and rightly so, because it is really simple, really yummy, and it is the side dish to one of the best cuisines, dishes, whatever in the whole world. It's a naan bread. I'm making gluten-free naan bread, which can be dairy-free, can be vegan, it can be low FODMAP, it can be all of these things, and it goes perfectly with the curry, and it's just so great. And I'm telling you now, it is super simple. You don't need to do all this resting for hours or using weird ingredients. You can use ingredients that I know that you have in your cupboards. So I will get on with it and show you how to make it, show you my ingredients, show you everything there is to know about my naan bread, and yeah, then you can make some with me too. Oh, and also, I seem to use my hands quite a lot. No, that wasn't the thing that was also. If you want the written recipe, it is on the blog, so I will leave a link in the description below so that you can just go on over there and look at the blog here in one window, and then watch the video in like another window, and then do it in front of you with a bowl, and yeah. So here is everything that you're going to need. Looks very similar to some of my other recipes I put up recently, and that's because it's a versatile dough. So firstly, you're going to need your yogurt. So I have got lactose-free Greek yogurt. As you can see, I've got it from 2 different supermarkets here. I really like Greek yogurt. I think it's nice and thick, and I think that makes it easier to work with. It doesn't get so sticky, whereas like a thinner yogurt can be a bit more like that. But there's no problem if you just use natural yogurt and it's thinner, or a dairy-free yogurt and it's thinner. You just need to use a little bit more flour, because you just want the dough to be a certain consistency, which I'll show you in the video. So yeah, other thing I use is gluten-free self-raising flour. Prefer self-raising to plain, but you can use plain because it's absolutely fine. You just use a little bit more baking powder. I do add a little bit of xanthan gum. This is more important if you were going to use plain flour, but it's also just something that I add to a lot of my recipes, and people often ask me why. It's just, when we're gluten-free, we want something that kind of replicates gluten as much as possible, and that's what a tinsy bit of xanthan gum does. But again, if you don't have it, don't think you can't make the recipe, you can. I've got salt in here. This is my very trendy salt pig. So I've just got some Maldon sea salt. This is just my shaker with flour in it so that I can dust the surface and make it so it doesn't stick, which is really important. And then a little bit of baking powder. Really, the only ingredients you truly need are the yogurt and the flour. If that's all you had, you would do fine. You would do good, I think. And then also, obviously, I'm making a naan bread, not just a plain like flatbread or anything. So need some garlic infused oil. I use this because I'm low FODMAP and can't have garlic in any other form. But you could use minced garlic, chopped garlic, all those things that make my tummy churn and go horrible. But this, if you're low FODMAP, perfect. And then also I've got some fresh coriander, but that is in the fridge so it doesn't wilt because today is a hot day. Right, so firstly I'm going to put my self-raising flour into my bowl, and I am going to put in 250 grams of this, and then that is against the 260 grams of Greek yogurt. And I know a lot of people who make a yogurt dough recipe will do equal amounts of each, but for me, I like to put slightly more yogurt in so that it means that when you roll it out, you can add a little bit more flour and it won't go so dry. So it's sort of to compensate for people like me who are a bit rubbish and can make stuff kind of sticky, so that then you don't have to worry that you're going to make a dry dough. So there's the 250 of that. Then I'm just going to add in my yogurt, and then after that I'll be adding in a 1/4 teaspoon of the xanthan gum and 1/2 teaspoon of the baking powder, and then a little pinch of salt as well, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so that's all the ingredients in the bowl, and now I'm just going to mix it together until it kind of comes together a bit and sort of forms a dough, but it won't entirely form a dough. I think you really need to get your hands in to do that, but it goes quite a long way, so you just need to keep mixing. And if you do have a different type of yogurt here, which is a bit thinner, you might start to realise that it is quite sticky, but it shouldn't matter because there is no sort of set measurements for this in a way. It's more just about ratios, so you just sort of have to balance it out, and you can go slightly off recipe just so that you're making it really the right texture. So just mixing it like this, and you'll see that it's starting to come together, starting to form some sort of dough, a bit sticky. But once you mix it for a little while, probably a minute or two, you'll realise that it really does start to come together into the weirdest dough really, because it's just yogurt and flour. Who knew? So I've mixed my dough as much as I'm going to with my spatula, and as you can see, it's not really sticky. Like, I can press into it and nothing's coming off it, but to roll it, it would be far too sticky. As you can see, then there's a little bit of stickiness to my hands. But don't just start putting tons of flour into it now, because I find then you sort of get scared that it's too sticky, so you shove a load of flour in and it'll make it too dry in the end. So what I do is I will put a little dusting, which is why this thing is so good, on there, and I'll actually get it out of the bowl and kind of knead it a little bit on the work surface that is lightly floured. And from kneading, I find that you get what you want. So just gonna get that out. There we go, put the bowl over there. Do this, doing it with my left hand, so I'm probably gonna make a right old mess. There we go. And then you just wanna sort of press it, and you'll have to reflour the surface possibly, because it's gonna absorb it and it's gonna be a bit sticky, and it might stick, but you can see that just by doing this with it, suddenly the dough becomes an actual good, proper sort of formed dough that's not dry, that's not too sticky, is perfect. And that is like good to roll when it's sort of like this. You can see, if you opened it up, you'd see that it's sticky, so that's why when you're making your individual naans or whatever you're making with it, you then need to put a little bit more flour down. But we have sort of allowed for that by putting a little bit extra yogurt into the dough in the first place. So that is ready to put into portions and then roll out to make our naan. Okay, so I've floured my surface now. It's a decent amount of flour. It doesn't matter if it's too much, would matter if it was too little in a way, because it would stick. And then this sort of dough, this sort of amount, I would probably, it depends how thick you want them, you can, or how big you want them. You could make 4 naan breads out of it, you could make 2 sort of big pizza sized naans out of it, you can make lots of small ones. It's really, really versatile. So I think I'm going to cut it into 3 or 4 pieces to show you how to do that. At this point as well, you're going to start wanting to put your hob on. So I put it on my centre hob, put a big pan out on sort of a medium heat. You definitely can't see anything there. Make sure that this is nice and hot pre-putting your naan in, because that will make all the difference if you want some sort of nice bubbles and some nice blisters. So yeah, I've got it on. It looks quite low, but you can hear it, can't you? So now I'm going to roll it out. Okay, so I've got my first piece of dough here, and I've got it on the floured surface. I've got my rolling pin, and I'm going to roll it to be, I think I'm going to roll them fairly thick this time. So maybe about 0.7. So as you can see, I'm rolling it and I'm checking that it's not sticking to the worktop, because that would be annoying. And I'm not rolling it too thin. You can roll it however thin you want it. Sometimes I do make quite thin naans, but I'm going to make them sort of over half a centimetre. I don't know my measurements, but you'll be able to see it's sort of this thickness. It's not too thick, not too thin, and I'm not going to make them super huge, just sort of a reasonable size. So now that is about the right size that we want it. And then once my pan has heated up completely and I'm really confident that it's really hot, I'm going to take this, which with these, because they're not too big, you can almost do it with your hand and sort of take it and put it in the pan, but I probably recommend some sort of spatula, or like I often recommend and use, I use like a cake lifter and put it underneath, because it's just easier. It means that it definitely won't break in any way, and also it's kind of a bit safer putting it into the pan because you can sort of slide it off. Okay, so my pan is super hot now, and I have to be very careful, but I'm just going to slide this in. There we go. And I will cook it on that side for a couple of minutes, and then I will flip it over. So it's looking pretty good on the other side, so I'm just going to flip it now. So as you can see, it has got loads of nice colour now. It's cooked on both sides, it's cooked all the way through. It's really nice and squishy, just like you'd want to have a naan. So it's pretty much done, but we just want to do some toppings on it. So whilst it's still in the pan, because why not, I've got some garlic oil and I've got my coriander and stuff, and I'm going to just brush this onto the naan. You can put as much or as little as you want on. So just gonna brush that on. You can brush it on both sides, on one side, and it brings out that nice sort of shiny colour that you sort of want on a naan, I think. So sprinkle a little bit of this on. If you don't like coriander, you could use something else, or you don't have to have it at all. So I know some people don't like coriander. I'm not the biggest fan either, but on a naan, I think it just works. Garlic and coriander naan, the best. Put a little bit of that on, and then a little sprinkling of salt. And there you go, ready to serve up, and that literally takes like 10 minutes, start to finish. And voila! Did somebody order a naan bread? I did. I really want to eat it, literally. It's so simple to make these, and you just won't be disappointed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue making them, because obviously I got more dough, and then I'm probably going to freeze them. We might have some for our dinner tonight. I think now that I've made this, curry is definitely on the menu. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, then click up here to watch my gluten-free calzone recipe video, and click up here for my what's for dinner video. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.